In Raoul Peck's 2021 documentary series, Exterminate All the Brutes, the surrealist narratives that punctuate Peck's historical analysis revel in ironic juxtaposition and visual historic collage to destabilize whiteness's linear and progressive temporalities. The artistic style that Peck works with in these moments has its origins in 1920s France. Surrealism began in the Parisian metropole as an outpouring of European disillusionment following World War I and continuing after World War II. Dissatisfied by what they believed was excessive rational thought catapulted into large-scale warfare, the Surrealists turned to the aesthetics of the irrational and illogical. Surrealism, from the French sur, above, and réalisme, that which is accurate, reveled in the unexpected and jarring dreamscape. Though the first Surrealists, all of whom were Europeans, saw themselves as revolutionaries, they were ultimately too myopic to grasp the full potential implications of a turn away from the rational. While they recognized the horrors of World War I, most Surrealists failed to grasp the interconnections between the global European project of colonization and these European wars. Indeed, it was in the Americas, Africa, and Asia that Europe first practiced honing its skills in the art and science of war. It was for control over this global project of life and labor extraction that purposed World War I, and it was the internalization of these logics in the European continent that culminated in World War II. It is a testament to the narcissism of whiteness that most Surrealists were able only to interrogate the axioms of rationality to the extent that they were detrimented. It was with the intervention of Surrealists from the colonized world that the movement took on new anti-colonial life and praxis. Martinician writer and theorist Aimé Césaire was inspired by the potential for the illogical, dreamlike poetics of Surrealism to speak to the visceral and already disjointed experience of being diasporically African in the Caribbean. For a Hollywood reader, much of Surrealism's phrasing around representation feels outdated and inconsistent with the new school. Much of the original Surrealists' work emphasized that there was an objective reality that could be portrayed. They were just more so interested in transcending it. However, as Stuart Hall articulates, representation is constitutive, meaning that representations and meanings make each other simultaneously. Thus, there is no true representation because there is no objective reality. While this problematizes Surrealism as a nomer, it is still useful to think of the movement and its visual signifiers while viewing Peck's work. It is from this tradition that Haitian filmmaker Raoul Peck incorporates the visual melding of multiple space-times and dreamlike sequences into Exterminate All the Brutes. In Episode 2, Who the Fuck is Columbus?, General Thomas Sidney Jessup, fresh from carrying out a massacre of the Seminole tribe, bathes in a river where he witnesses a protest march in the distance. The marchers chant, "You will not replace us," directly references the American white supremacist chant that was used in Charlottesville, Virginia. Additionally, the crowd's red pickup truck and red banners signify the right side of the political compass, a color correlation that has only grown stronger in a Trumpian America. The newspaper article detailing an assassination attempt on Andrew Jackson, which floats down the river immediately after this demonstration passes, sandwiches the disparate time periods, the 1830s, 2017, and back to the 1830s, to further disrupt the temporality of the scene. The effect is a jarring one, but in its shocking juxtaposition of events, it becomes apparent that the two scenes are not very far off from one another. In fact, the same white supremacist logics that culminated in Andrew Jackson and Sidney Jessup's genocide of Native Americans is alive and well in the forces of contemporary neo-Nazis. Peck's Episode 3, Killing at a Distance, or How I Thoroughly Enjoyed the Outing, incorporates a similar moment of surrealism, albeit through the mode of dreams and nightmares this time. The same actor who plays Jessup in the previous episode appears in the scene, this time as a scientist. The actor's reoccurrence throughout the series serves as a malevolent white string that ties together the various times and places portrayed. Set in a dingy all-white morgue, the doctor's two white male henchmen are shown to be disheveled, limping, and bleeding. Their pallid faces are in harsh contrast to the healthiness and cleanliness of the man that waits in the room for them, Haitian anthropologist Michel Rolfe Trouillot. The scene plays out as if it were a nightmare of Trouillot's. It is a surrealist in that we are unsure of where exactly we are or what is happening, but we are able to feel the visceral power of the scene and Trouillot's emotions. The juxtaposition of Trouillot's quiet dignity even in the hour of his death, with the corpse-like doctors and morticians with hungry faces, casts whiteness quite unfavorably. Where whiteness, especially in medicine and sciences, is supposed to signify purity and sterility, here it is grimy and sickly. The walls of the all-white facility are unable to hide any of the filth that has built up from years of genocidal practice. It is these subversive juxtapositions that Exterminate All Brutes transcends into the surreal, challenging whiteness's myth of a single objective truth. Instead, it is in the metaphorical, allegorical, spliced-up narratives that the capital T truth is laid bare as farce, and the visceral, emotive inheritance of slavery and colonialism can be most deeply felt. It is also through the intrusion of disparate times in the same place that the white valorization of temporal as solely linear can be ruptured. With a surrealist loose ordering of time, the complexities and connections between events separated by centuries become clearer, illuminating the tangled pathways of whiteness and empire globally.